When I wanted to leave my previous employer, I asked myself, why do I want to leave? And I asked myself the why and the why and the why. And I just discovered I wanted financial independence.
Did you have a figure that you wanted to achieve then?
It's so important for business people to ask themselves, why are they getting into business? There's always those personal things you want to do. Do them.
Yeah.
Do them earlier on, get them out of the way so that you can really concentrate on making business decisions.
Interesting.
Don't invent any wheel. There is nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, true.
Look at wild examples, then patch yours together and do your thing. Own your failures, own your success, and talk about it.
Good evening and welcome to the Late Night Business. My name is Ian Dennis, and tonight we have a very, very interesting guest that you have lined up. A guest who's so many different things. Not only is she a doctor, but she's also a reality star, she's a businesswoman, and so much more. And today we're going to get to uncover her particular entrepreneurial journey and actually get to learn so many different lessons from her journey. But before I get to introduce my guest, I'd like to let you know that you're here at the Capital Club, the place to need to be as an entrepreneur, because at the Capital Club, a key thing is that your network is actually your net worth. And at the Capital Club, there's so many different particular executive leaders, entrepreneurs, and within, or rather being part of the Capital Club, you get to have access to all this particular network. So the guest I'm actually speaking of is none other than Dr. Katherine Masitsa. We all know about the Samantha Bridal, the brand that literally is very, very synonymous with the bridal scene. And she's also built so many different brands after that. There's the Samantha wines, there's a gin, there's so many things that's coming out of it. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome Dr. C. That's the new name you told me.
Yes.
The first question I like starting all my interviews with, what exactly are you most grateful for today?
The fact that I'm actually alive. I'm alive, and I'm grateful for the opportunities that life has to offer, including this opportunity to be able to share my experience, because I know in sharing my experience, somebody will learn something, somebody will heal, if I'm sharing a failure or something. So it's an opportunity.
Ah, interesting. Speaking about this particular opportunity, because I'm like, this is one of the shows I'm like, no preparing, I'm just coming, let me just get to learn also myself, because I always believe everyone to have opportunity to just have any guest here is an opportunity to learn from their lives. One of the core things that I learned, or rather doing my research of you, is that you started business quite early. What's it called? What exactly was going on through your mind in terms of your pursuit for business and entrepreneurship?
Well, that's a really good question, because, and I'm happy to share it. It's a question I've thought about, because recently I saw one of the movie stars talking about how they made nothing out of what they had done. And I was thinking there's a problem with that picture. Because when I got into business, I was in a very good job. At the time, I was working with the European Union in a good job that paid me very well. Okay? But I had also left a really good job in the pharmaceutical industry to join the EU. And I had done a master's in business administration. And at the time, when I wanted to leave my previous employer, I asked myself, why do I want to leave? And what is it exactly? And I asked myself the why and the why and the why. And I just discovered I wanted financial independence. And I asked myself, so what do I mean by financial independence? I sort of like gave myself a goal. And I asked, who has that life? And I looked around and I discovered that none of them were employed. And because I had discovered, I wanted to be the CEO of the company I worked for, because I wanted my boss's life.
So your boss was living the life you wanted?
Yes. Then I looked around. Is that the life I really want? I found no, he wasn't even driving the car, my dream car. He wasn't even living in my dream house. And so I set myself the goals. I looked around, who is living that life? So what do I need to be doing, to live that life? So what I did was to set myself goals. Like in my life, I want financial independence. This is what I want to live, the kind of life I want to live, and this is how long I want to work. And for me to reach that goal, this is what I need to do. So I thought, because the people who are living the life were entrepreneurs, and I thought, so what business can I start? And the first idea that came, I always tell people I could have been a plumber if that was the business that came.
So long as it got you to where you want.
I could have been in road construction for as long as it got me where I needed to be. And the first idea that came to me was publishing. And I got into publishing. Not because at the time I couldn't even, it was the time when computers were not, this was just at the beginning of the millennium, the year 2000, April. And I just started.
Interesting.
I just started. It's not even like I had money in the bank. No, I just started.
So when you mentioned publishing, was it a magazine? Was it?
It was a magazine, and so the idea that came on the table was, oh, there's a need, because I was a high-flying corporate woman, and there was nothing. When I come back, I had guests. I didn't know where to take them. And I decided, that's it. I'm going to publish an entertainment guide. So I started business on the side. And I told my boss, listen, this is not France. My boss was French. If I lose my job today, if you fire me today, I don't intend to go on the street. I intend to go into my business. So I'm starting a publishing business.
Oh,
I'm
so
just
you
letting
started it
know.
when you were still in employment?
When I was still in employment, I wasn't like lying to my boss. I did let him know. And he said, yeah, for as long as you don't use the EU name, the European Union name, because I was an employee of the European Union, to sell your business, it's okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I wasn't like hiding. I just said, listen, I need more cushion. Yes, and therefore I feel passionate about this. So I got the people. I remember calling the school of the media school, telling them, give me your best student. And I got a graphics designer, and I put together something in one of my bedrooms. I lived on Kilimani Road, and that's why our offices for the longest time were in Kilimani. I lived in an apartment there, and I converted one of the rooms into an office, and life started.
Interesting. And so primarily, literally, you started off as, quote unquote, a side hustle while still fully employed. So at what particular point now did you decide to transition now from employment now into this particular business? And maybe how long did the business take to be able now to sustain you? Because you had a very good paying job and you wanted to replace that with something better.
So what happened is that, a lot of these EU jobs, they don't offer permanent employment. So you have like 5 year, 3 or 5 years. So mine was like 5-year contract. And by the time it was coming to an end, I had invested so much money in the business, and I had nothing to show for it. But I had built a base. So at that point, it was that I either come in to actually manage it and or close it down. I decided to actually manage the business. And at the time, I was getting married, and I had launched another business out of it. And I said, my real talent is selling. I have, like, I was born a sales lady.
You're born to sell.
I was born to sell. Give me anything, I will sell. My talent is to talk to people, to convince people, like convincing you, like on my side, like I convince you to come to my side.
The winning team.
Yes, that's my real talent. And I say, let me just use my talent. And therefore, I did not go back to go to the development world again. I remember the head of delegation, his name was Gary Queens. He was very disappointed because they had invested a lot of money in training me. They were training a lot of young Africans, a lot of young Kenyans to understand how the development world works, so that when a lot of the big consultancy jobs came, we could actually apply for them because the market was dominated with a lot of expatriates. And there were not enough African Kenyans who were doing those jobs. So he was very disappointed. Because at the time I was getting somebody who has private sector experience, an MBA, and a vet for rural development. There were not many, but now I'm sure there are very many. So I was a very rare breed.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah.
And so you mentioned that you started off with a magazine, and you mentioned it was not quite doing well by the time you're transitioning, and then you said, what's it called? You transitioned, it gave birth to another business. Which particular other business did it give birth to? And how now did you, what's it called, making that transition, how did you sustain yourself, having that you now transition from the paying opportunity?
So first of all, there were a lot of lessons to learn. So for everything, you have to think of the business model. So the business model was a little bit needed to change. We needed to change the business model.
So initially, what were you doing? Were you selling
So initially, I was
or
publishing a magazine, but I was giving it out for free.
Ah, so you're not making money?
No, the money was being made from advertising.
All right.
But print is very expensive.
True, true.
So my business model was that I print the quality, not necessarily very, very high gloss magazine, but a lower quality to sustain the cost and give it out for free and let it be where it's supposed to be. And that wasn't quite working because there's also the pricing. The pricing model. So I hadn't quite gotten the price right. So a good example is that I was selling, but this was in the year 2000, I was selling a page for like 40,000, a full page. And then it was very near, the quality of the product was very near to the newspaper quality. But the cover was big and hard enough because this was a business model I got from another country in my travels. So you keep it there and you could check. Internet was not what it is now. Okay? And so there was somebody else in the market who had pure high gloss, real high gloss, and I just really hadn't understood the pricing. So one day I sit together with this hotelier and I tell them, because I needed to attract a certain quality of advertising that I wasn't attracting. And I was wondering why. So I sat with this guy. And he told me the truth is, you know what, Katherine? The truth is, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. And he brought my competitor's product. And he's like, you see this magazine? Her pricing is 150,000 a page. And we have subscribed for a whole year, 12 months. You're asking me to just place an ad once, and my answer is no. Even if you give it to me for free,
you won't take it.
I will not do it. Why? Because look at the quality of your product. So he gave me that free advice. Go and change the quality of your product, raise the price, and at that time I didn't even think people would actually pay that amount of money. But you see, these are lessons as a business owner. I could only learn on the ground.
All right. Interesting, because you're charging 40,000, they're charging 150,000, and still got clients, and you're struggling to get clients.
Interesting. So it was important because now I needed to change, and it's so important entrepreneurs could understand what is the business model, okay, and how do you intend to make money. It is so important, like really, really important to work on your business model.
And when you now took that particular advice, did it
changed? It changed, and one of the things, and he told me, once you change the quality of your product, go and get some good paying clients. Get just like 4 who can commit, and then get it from there. So in life, I'm always like, you're who you're seen with. Who are you standing with? So I was very lucky. And in business, I always say there's always an element of luck. There's always also. And that luck, you make it. But there is also. So I was very lucky. I walk into Kenya Airways. At the time, they had this brand called Flamingo. And I pitch that, I walk into Kenya Airways and I pitch that, can I have my magazine on their flights? And they agreed. Then I got to, and that was a big thing for me. And they agreed to run front and back. Okay? Then I go to Toyota Kenya at the time. Like, there's time when you just have God's grace. And they agree. We'll take for a year.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
this was a new magazine still in the market.
It wasn't really new, but there are times when I would just leave my desk from the EU, like, because I knew where my future is. Like, well, I don't know which donor coordination meeting I'm supposed to go to. You're looking, Katherine is not there.
Katherine went for the meeting.
Like, honestly, I would just, like, I was mad. I'm telling you, in my 20s, I was totally mad. Literally. Like,
But the madness came.
no, because for me, I knew where I'm going. And if you're not part of it, I'm not prioritizing you. Like, I knew business is the one that is getting me there. So you find somebody who can go for that. Donor coordination meeting. I'm just...
Oh, so you're doing your preps much early before you made the full transition all through.
Yeah. And so, so I was very lucky. I got these people and I was able to continue publishing. And at that time, and I got Nakumat. At that time, it was really big. I made the phone call and he was like, come, we talk. I talked the talk, walked the walk. They were with me for a very long time. And so it started to establish itself and I was able to make a few investments here and there. And
Interesting.
and then I started on to the wedding publication because I was getting married. And I realized, so one of the things I realized about this magazine is that, yes, I was targeting people with money, with disposable income, but it was too wide. So my advertisers wanted to know who is exactly, who is your audience.
Right.
So another business lesson, you need to know who is your client. And I found it sometimes very difficult to articulate who exactly is my client. So I admired publications like Msafiri.
Oh, yes.
And Msafiri would go to press with 100 million worth of advertising. You know, people are joking in this country. When we say we have actually digressed, there was a time there was money in this country. It's unbelievable.
Interesting. So back then, magazines were making
there was a lot
of money.
Not just magazines alone, there was money.
Yeah.
And if you were alive at the time, you would know. When I see people, they're starting employment at 50,000, 100,000. I'm like, what is that? That is what we were starting on.
Back in the day.
In the 90s, that's what we used to earn. What do you mean this is what you're starting on? Right now, people need to be earning much more. So it's important that people know that we really need to fix our economy. We must fix it.
Interesting.
Yeah, Msafiri would go to press with that amount of money.
Oh,
yes.
That was so much. And back in the day.
And my aim was, can I go to press with at least 20 million?
Yeah.
Because
Did you
it can be
manage to pass
done.
that?
Well, with the Bridal magazine, yes.
And
Yes.
so the Bridal magazine, it came about because you
I
were
was
at the point
getting
married.
married, and I said, there I am. That's my captive market. That's my captive market. People were getting married.
And where did the name Samantha come about?
I was just looking for a name that it can resonate with everybody, and I was looking at the wild examples. So I had this friend. He came to Kenya to run to I think Wild Space Radio or something, but he had a very good, he came from the UK and he had a big experience in media, magazine. So I would bounce ideas a lot on him. He told me, Katherine, don't even try to reinvent any wheel. And this is what I tell entrepreneurs. Don't invent any wheel. Yeah? There's nothing new under the sun.
True.
Look at wild examples, then patch yours together and do your thing. Yeah, and that's what I did. I just looked at wild examples. How are they doing it? So I looked at big brands like Martha Stewart. I looked at big brands like David's Bridal. There were quite some big brands. And the one thing I realized about them is that they are quite personal. The names are not...
Oh, they're not wild names. They
are not like just democratic names. But it also helped that I'd been a bride. So I knew exactly what is in the mind of a bride. And a bride wants to know that it's only her. It's personal.
It's you.
Yeah,
it's your day.
And therefore, I didn't want to use some just name. So I was looking for a name that can resonate with many people. And I knew I'm building a world-class brand. I wanted a name that if I drop in the middle of New York,
someone can relate to it.
Somebody can relate.
And there's something that also about it, because Samantha became, it's so synonymous with Bridal. How did you, okay, you've mentioned one aspect in terms of building a brand, making it very, very personal. But in terms of now growing this brand to where exactly it is right now, what are some of the lessons that you can actually draw to this? Because you've built a huge brand.
So some of the lessons I actually learned out of it is that building a brand takes many aspects. It's not about just coming up with a logo. Of course, the logo plays a big part. The fonts that you use play a big part. The colors, everything play a big part. But it's about also what are people saying about the brand. It's about consistency. Consistency. What quality do you want to put out there? It's about, and especially ensuring that your team actually understand the vision and understand what it is. And doing the same thing until people get it. Yeah? You don't assume, no assumptions.
True.
In terms of, if we appearing in the mainstream media, this is how we appear. For me as Katherine, like when I'm making a very, very official, just very recently, maybe I began to change a bit, you would see me with my bald head.
Yes.
Yeah? It was a choice. This is how we appear. This is how we dress. These are the colors. This is what we never do until people got it. If we are somewhere, we're talking weddings, and we worked very, very, very hard to imbue that name with weddings, to make it synonymous with weddings, until people get it.
Interesting.
You know, from whether it's online, radio, I did a lot of radio interviews, I did a lot of TV interviews, we produced our own shows, but until people get it, like, what do you really do? Yes, and what do you do? Yeah. So that is, brand building is about consistency and understanding all the various facets of putting a brand together.
Interesting. And on that particular note, you're going to take a short commercial break, and then once you're back, you're just going to explore further lessons in terms of her journey, entrepreneurship, and also just get so much lessons from her. So see you after the break. So welcome back to the show. So as we were having a conversation before we went on a break, I almost said Samantha, but Dr. C, she's like being called, was just taking us through the journey of how Samantha came to be and how exactly they've managed to build that particular brand. And the interesting thing is that the brand has been synonymous with us for almost 2 decades.
Yes.
How exactly have you managed to, you were talking about consistency before you went on a break, how have you managed to be consistent all these years? Because it's very difficult to remain consistent, given that also as human beings, we are always evolving. But how have you managed to maintain this aspect of consistency throughout?
So let's just say I have been lucky to be the vision bearer of the brand. And this is a thing a lot about businesses, that sometimes the vision bearer, maybe they get confused, they get into other things, and sometimes you have a team that is not buying the vision. The one thing I'm very happy about is that I kept the same team, the same suppliers. So we are a brand that is been known to be very loyal. We are very, very loyal to our suppliers. So for example, our wedding expo has been happening at the Sarit Center for all that time. When it comes to even brand activation, we've worked with the same people, so they know, they understand the brief. I was very lucky that, for example, nobody could steal my graphics designers because I paid the most. Like, you want to steal them? Pay. Yeah? So I would get them, and so in my life, let me say I've had 3 graphics designers that I've worked with. And so after Corona, obviously, the team kind of changed because every company, all business models were tested, and ours was not different. But what I can say is that, there's a question you asked me earlier on. I just need to, like, for anyone listening, for me, I started with a personal goal to get into business, to meet certain personal things.
True.
Okay? And it was important for me that this business was taking me
Sure.
to where I wanted to be.
Interesting.
And it's so important for business people to ask themselves, why are they getting into business? There's always those personal things you want to do. Do them.
Yeah.
Do them earlier on, get them out of the way so that you can really concentrate on making business decisions.
Interesting. And
Yeah?
speaking about that, sorry to cut you short, you mentioned, I think you brought it up and just something just popped into my mind. What exactly is this thing that you wanted? You talked about financial independence. Did you have a figure that you wanted to achieve then? Did you have this house? What exactly is it that you wanted then? And have you achieved it? And after how long did you achieve it?
So at the time, I had it's always about a boy. I met my husband, he had proposed and he wanted us to go back to Europe. So I was like, I need to buy a house in my name so that when I come back,
just in case.
Just in case. I bought it in 3 years.
Wow.
There was a time there was so much money in the country. Yeah? Let's just say I started my business in 2000. By 2004, when I was getting married, I already had a house in my name.
Wow.
Yeah? In my name. Oh, okay. I already started my real estate investing very earlier on because I worked on good jobs and I got paid very well.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So what am I saying? That you need to start off with your goals. Because if film, you're a movie star and is not taking you towards your goals.
True.
Change course. Like change course. Move towards your goal. Yeah? Your personal goal. And there's so many industries that look so glamorous in this country, but they're not taking people anywhere.
To their goals. True.
Yes. So you have to start, what goal do I, and that is your true north. Okay? So if this thing is taking you in this direction, trying to bring you back, and you know your true north, change course, change those careers, change. You can always come back and do that career as a luxury. You see, right now, me, I can afford to be a reality star. I have properties.
Yeah, you're okay.
I get passive income. I've got my companies running. And therefore, I can go and do whatever I want to do.
Because you already ticked out your boxes.
Yeah, I'm still ticking, but I'm in that space when I can afford. So I saw it, I think, I don't know how many days ago, and I've seen young people, this is what I want to say, decide where you want to go, make those goals, especially how do you want to live your life, especially on a material level. You know, this thing of that you've got to love, whatever, love will always come. If this thing is meeting your, whatever it is you're doing, it's helping you towards your true north.
Love will come.
Love, you will love what you're doing.
You cannot eat love.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
And it is so important. If you're an influencer and it's helping you to meet your goal, fine. If it is not, change course. Change completely.
Interesting. And you've mentioned also the aspect of materiality. Maybe you can also go there because finance is such an important aspect. And also managing this particular finance is very, very important. What are some of the lessons that money has actually taught you?
What I've learned is that, number one, that doing business in Kenya, it's a special talent. It's really, really a special talent. And especially, it's not about being a woman, it's not about being a girl or being a man or whatever it is. And the truth is, sometimes business is just business all over the world. It is just business. Yeah? Okay, maybe you can have unfavorable taxation regimes that are different and therefore it makes it but the business principles are business principles. Yeah? So the main thing you want to ask, is there a need? You want to look at, is there a market? What is the size of, what is the total available market? Okay? If I exhaust everything, yeah? Like, what's the total available market? Is it big enough? If it's big enough, in terms of if you exploit it, can I scale? Can I grow into that market? Can it help me reach there? And for as long as you're impacting humanity, when you have someone buying your product, it means there's a need and you're actually helping God's children. And when you look at all the big brands, the money will come. the money will just come. That's what I learned. Do you have a good product? Is there a need? Can you show cash flow? The money will always come.
Interesting. And because one of the core things is like the guys who get money, but also money corrupts because they're not able to manage it. And I think the key thing is not, I don't know, from what exactly I've observed, getting the money, you can get it, but how have you managed to sustain it? Because that's a key thing. As you've mentioned right now, you have passive income. You have the freedom to choose what you want to do, how exactly you want to do it. How have you learned around investing, and also just managing this money?
Like I said, you must start off with a goal. You must start off with a true north goal. You have to start with the end in mind. You really must start with that. Because
so it's the goal that maintains
you. Yes, the goal. And you must really, really be true to that goal that you want to do. If, for example, you want to grow your business to a certain level, okay, you have to treat a business like even an investment. Because if you go to the bank, you want money, the bank will ask you for
they'll ask you for the documentation,
asset,
cash flow, yes.
asset and everything,
Collateral,
and
yes.
the collateral. And there are times, so one of the things from the get-go that I knew I must put in place is to build the asset base for the business. So that when I want the big money, I can always get.
Yeah.
You can't jump that. Even when there's these guarantee funds that come to help women, to help. So unless you really understand the road you're on, so for me I was so militant in building the asset base. There's some things, people ask, why did you not do them from, so sometimes you get you get restrained because no one is investing.
True.
Yes, you can go and get the venture capitalists to come, but you need to have a certain base. A certain base, and sometimes not everyone, when you're in a very unconventional business, or the wedding business, like, you mean people pay to get, at the time, nobody, I've built now an ecosystem, I've mentored so many people, it's an industry on its own. But at the time when I started, I went to the bank, and the bank was like, we can't advertise with you. We are a bank. We are not. They didn't understand how they fit even
into this.
So you can imagine us. Yeah. So I was very clear and keen on how can I build an asset base for my business, such that 10 or 15 years from now, when I'm going to borrow money now to build where I want to go, and I was very militant with that. So there was no room for I'm getting this big money, this big check, and I don't know where the money is going to. Or I knew exactly, I knew exactly where that money is going to, and I put it there. So right now, it's easy for me to go and ask the bank, I need money, and they'll give me money because what? If I have the cash flows, I can demonstrate the cash flows. My business has been around for long. So bring the asset to secure.
And then get
you see, the thing is, you can have the asset base, and the bank still will not give you money because can you actually repay? Because the bank is not in the business of selling people's properties.
True.
The bank is in the business of lending and doing legit business. Legit means they lend you money.
You pay back.
Which they can actually promise now. They are investors, and then you pay back and they continue. They are not happy when they're selling people's property.
True.
So they want to see, do you even have the cash flows for that?
Interesting.
So you need to plan. So people get confused because they have no plan.
True.
So the thing is, the way you must have a true north
and remain militant.
I was so militant. Like militant in ensuring, like you just don't even have an idea.
Interesting. And then now the brand has grown, and then you've extended your hand into wine. So telling me also earlier about gins. Why did you decide about this particular expansion, and then completely different particular industries by itself? Why did you decide to go this route, and how has it been for you to uncover this particular new path? Okay,
so when it comes to business, I think so that like a baby. Let me talk about babies because I'm a mother. My daughter is like turning 11 now. And when you give birth to a baby, you don't want this baby to remain an infant their whole life. You want them to grow, they go through the milestones until they become completely independent, isn't it? And as they're growing independent, they're acquiring other things, and all that. So even business is like that. So as the business grows, yeah, the businesses evolve because your clients are evolving, the market is evolving. So for example, when there was Corona, a lot of business models were tested. Completely got decimated. And a lot of the big brands we know today. Did you know Samsung was a kiosk? Did you know that LG was a skincare? Do you know IBM started off, I don't know what. So who are we? You understand? So as the business grows, you have to be sensitive and listen. Listen to the feedback. What is the market saying? So the feedback we got is that people loved our brand. Yeah? You told me you went to Strathmore Business School. I was also there. And there was this time I was walking and there's these school children who came and they were running towards me. And I go to the supermarket sometimes, I meet people who know me, they know the brand. And I'm like, I'm not even running for office of the president. So what am I supposed to do? What can I do for these people so that they can vote with their pockets? So I knew I needed to extend the brand. I needed to merchandise it and do something that they can also partake, because we felt we left our clients on the altar, literally. We just like abandoned them.
I do. Next time.
Yes. Next one. Yeah. So, you know, we told stories around weddings. We mentor people, but people want more of the brand. So we really, even as people, we got inspired a lot by some of those picture perfect moments. We get inspired a lot with those handwritten vows that people write. And so when we wanted to expand, we knew exactly what we wanted to do. We knew we are in the business of helping people navigate and truly celebrate life's greatest moments. So we make memories. So we knew we are in the memories business. And what is it we can do to help people continue to remember the memories? And so we are getting also into the fragrance business. Yeah.
Interesting.
Not yet launched, but we are launching fragrance. Because fragrance has that special place that reminds you, like you take a certain perfume and you remember, Samantha. This was, it reminds me. I remember the perfume I wore when I met my husband. I remember it.
What is it? What is that secret code?
This guy, this guy actually just died recently. It's made of carrots. I mean, that age when I'm forgetting many things, but I remember before the end of the interview, he's a Japanese. He's a Japanese designer. I'll just remember before. Yeah? And whenever I wear that perfume,
you remember?
I remember, it takes me back to my dating days.
Interesting.
Completely. That's what Miyake, Icy, the perfume is called Icy Miyake. Icy Miyake, may his soul rest in peace, recently passed. But the original, the classical Icy Miyake perfume. I remember, like, when I wear it, I remember exactly. And so, and then when you talk about people meeting, and we always toss to celebration, toss to this, toss to that. So it was a natural progression, because also you want to be believable.
True.
Yeah? So today I could have said, okay, now I could have also gone into homes, help people establish, and I'm already in real estate. I'm already playing there. But I thought this is such a natural progression. So we launched into the wine business. Why the wine business? Because again, you have to look at what is the total available market. Okay? And for me, I always tell people I'm climbing one mountain. This mountain has a ball on top with my name written on it. With money. Katherine, your money is here. I'm just climbing the mountain.
Interesting.
The one that has Dr. C's money, your money is here. So I decided, let me, and again, Corona taught me a lot. You guys were just seated in the house and you were just drinking. Hata mmekataa kutumia makeup. You're not wearing makeup. Who cares if I'm smelling nice or not?
No one cares,
And you're working from, I don't know. So I said, let me start with that. I knew
so Corona actually triggered this.
I have everything. I just needed the branding, the what, everything was chosen. Like everything is ready. I just needed run the machines. Okay, and there's a lot of people. So we do what is called the private label and contract manufacturers.
Yeah. So you do it locally or abroad?
So our perfumes were coming from France. Coming from France,
Oh,
from Grasse.
All right.
Grasse.
And the wine?
The wine is coming from Spain. Okay, so
And the gin?
The gin is gonna be local. You know, I decided I better put in something. It's just that we are not really, we don't grow grapes here. That's why. But now recently we started to experiment in Mount Kenya, in Nanyuki, and we are getting good results with the grapes, and maybe we'll now do it here. But for the gin can be done here. And therefore, so for me it was like, yeah, why not here? So that is what informed. We want to grow, we wanted to get our clients to have more of the brand. Yes, and evolve. So we are in that process of evolving. We are listening to our loyal clients, and we are also very keen to give back to the. So that's our story. Yeah.
Interesting. So just as you almost come to a close, because I know time is literally moving so fast. You've been in different businesses, because these are different industries. You've been in the publishing industry, you've been in the content business, you're now in the wine business, you're getting to the fragrance business. All these are literally like more than 5 industries that you're already in. What are the major lessons that you can say that you've learned about business? And what exactly does it take to make a business successful?
Okay. So what I've learned about business is that, especially in this country, it's not for the faint-hearted.
It's supposed to be militant. For
It really, truly, it's not for the faint-hearted.
Sure,
And when I got into business, part of it, which I didn't mention, is that I wanted control over my time. I felt my employer was just like, why are we having why should I give, like I wasn't created to wake up 8 o'clock to come into your office, leave at 5, you have control over, like I just felt this. I wanted I really truly believe in being truly independent, to speak my mind, to do what I want to do, and I wanted to give myself that. But I have learned that unless you put in systems, structures, and everything, you will become you are in the biggest prison of your life. So business is about transitioning from the owner manager to a business owner. It means you are now working, somebody's working in the business, you work on your business from a bird's eye point of view. So that is a major thing. And it's something I've done a lot of executive education from Stanford Seed, Strathmore. I'm doing a lot of that and trying to recruit well so that I'm actually I become more of a business owner. Right now I have teams on the ground, but a lot of business owners continue to just be owner managers. That is really important. So the business model. And then the other thing I learned is, can you scale? There are businesses you cannot scale. So if you are on this journey of climbing this this mountain with your money on it at the top, look at the scaling model. Because if you cannot scale a business, I usually tell makeup artists sometimes, it's big, but it requires for you to be there to paint a face by face by face.
You can scale it.
For how long can you do it?
Not a long time.
Yes. So it's good when you're getting started, but quickly look at, is this business scalable? Because if it is not scalable, try to think of, what else can I do? What else can I do? It's like even medical doctors. You treat a patient by a patient, one by one and one. Can you scale? No, you can't even go on holiday. I want to be on holiday, sit on the beach, I just hear ka-ching, ka-ching, I check.
You confirm.
Yes. Open up hospitals. Start hospitals. So scaling is very important. And for someone who is starting, you need to understand, can I scale this? Because if you can't scale, start thinking.
True.
Yes.
Interesting. And maybe just the final lesson, maybe just one thing, because the interesting thing about your journey is that you've been at a point whereby you desired, now you're at a point whereby you've actualized what exactly it is you've desired, and you've seen a lot along this particular path, from that there is desiring and also having built it and actually having lived it. What's that one lesson as we close that you'll say is very pivotal for any person watching this around just the world of business?
Your network is your network. tell you that. Your network is your network.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe just...
You need to build a community around you. The business world is lonely, let me say that. And not everybody will get you. Not everyone will get you.
Yeah. You look like the crazy one.
Yes, so you need to have that sounding board, the one you can actually go to, the one you can talk to and your story is not out there, the one you can, because we've had challenges. There was a time I couldn't even make a business decision because I made so many mistakes, put my family at risk. Those things come with territory, and you find that even yourself, you're sick. You need to be healed. You need to go for counseling. So do you have the group of friends around you who will tell you, it's okay, we've done the same? Yeah? And I do feel so that in this country, and we are not telling enough failure stories.
True.
We're not telling enough failure stories. So listen to those stories. You will just heal, you understand? You will heal and you'll move on. So what do I want to say? I want to say that build a network around you. There's the close sounding board of business leaders. Business leaders, okay? Read widely. There were times when I woke up because when Donald Trump was in a similar position I was in, he was in minus 900 and I don't know what $1 million in debt personally. He still woke up. There was a time, you know. So he's a biographical mentor, let me say that, and then no, I'll get a lot of slack because there are people who don't like him.
It's up to them.
There was a time when I woke up because Martha Stewart woke up. When she shouldn't even have woken up, she just come out of prison and whatever. There were times when I said, I'm going to make this bold move because so-and-so did that. So read widely about other people, but also just build the network. Can you call another business leader? Like, I'm in this situation, or hey, can we do business? Can they vouch for you? You understand?
Yeah.
Because it's a very small world. That's the other thing you discover. It's a small world. Yes. And the word travels so fast. But the other lesson is own your failures, own your success, and talk about it. What I've learned about talking about my failures, because they've been so, like, public, is that people actually go and buy my product. They say that at least we know what you do. We know what we do, and we're going to support you because I shared, and they can relate. It's very important to be relatable. Relatable. Don't try to be this Miss Perfect or Mr. Perfect because they don't exist. The thing is, life is happening. We are all just, and people want to be able to know that, oh, it also happened to you. Oh, you also, oh, you mean? Tell people your stories. We need to tell enough stories and just support.
Interesting.
Yes.
My goodness. That's been a really, really lesson-packed show. And I feel like we need to expand our time actually. So I don't believe it's just like 42 minutes are just gone like that out of the room. But we need to have Dr. C again here just to expand on the extensive knowledge and experience that she's had in all this particular industry. And I hope you've learned a thing or two from this particular conversation. As always, it is the Late Night Business. My name is Ian Dennis, and we're coming to you from the Capital Club. And as she's mentioned, your network is your network, and being part of the Capital Club, you can actually get to build on this particular network. Until next time, I'll see you right here on the Late Night Business. Bye-bye.